Today it's April the 26th, and that only means one thing: it's Alien Day. Hello everybody, I'm Jay Mayer and welcome to my new I'll Talk About video. And these are kind of videos I just talk about a specific topic of film or specific selection of similar movies. This is not really the kind of videos in which I do a review or do a ranking or do a top 10. No, this is just something in which I can talk about a specific topic. And for this one, I want to talk about my favorite scene, my personal favorite scene from every Alien movie. And what I mean with Alien movie, the franchise of Alien. I'm not going to talk about every Alien movie out there, because that's going to be a long video otherwise. I'm going to talk about the Xenomorph franchise. And because it's Alien Day, it's the perfect time to talk about Alien movies. And normally I want to do a ranking video on this day, rank every Alien movie from my least favorite to my favorite. But I'm gonna wait with that video because this year we're gonna have Alien Romulus, a new Alien movie I'm very excited for. So I really can't wait to see that movie. And after I've seen that movie, I'm gonna give a ranking. So, while I can't do a ranking right now, I thought, why not talk about my favorite scene from every Alien movie? And I'm gonna talk about these movies in the order that they were released. So the first favorite scene is from the very first Alien movie, and that's the Alien movie directed by Ridley Scott from 1979. Yes, this is a horror classic. This is definitely one of the best horror movies ever made. It's actually a scary movie as well. There are some really eerie scenes in this movie, and it's a bit of a slow burner, definitely if you compare it with other Alien movies in this franchise, but it really works. It really benefits the atmosphere they were all going for. And the most iconic scene of this film is obviously the chest bursting scene by John Hurt. That is the most iconic scene. It's the scene that everyone remembers if they think about Alien, and rightfully so. That is one very well executed scene. However, my personal favorite scene is when the character Dallas, all the characters that remain at that point decide to look for the creature and put them in a certain direction so they can lock him up, so the other authorities can figure out what to do with it. And Dallas sacrifices himself to go in this air ventilation, this narrow space between the walls. And that scene, we see him crawling through this space, this really narrow space. It really has this claustrophobic tense, and we all know this creature is somewhere there. And with this machine that they have, they can see the heat, and they see where the creature is and where Dallas is, and you see those two are getting closer to each other, and it's just a very well executed scene. And I saw this movie when I was a kid and always was fascinated by this scene. So this is definitely my favorite scene from the first Alien movie. 7 years later, a new Alien movie came, our first sequel. In 1986, James Cameron delivers us Aliens, and with every sequel, it's faster paced, it's bigger, it's more action packed, more xenomorphs, because we only had one in the first one. Here we have multiple. And you have two kinds of people in this world. You have the people that prefer Alien, and then you have the people, and those is the group I am in, that prefer Aliens. I love this movie. This This is absolutely my favorite alien movie. I loved that there were multiple xenomorphs. I loved these colonial marines going to this place, fighting the xenomorphs. Great movie. So that means there are a lot of great scenes in this movie. But I have to go with the scene, it's a whole sequence actually, where the team is investigating a place where they believe survivors are. So the team goes to this place, they don't find anyone there, and then suddenly it's mayhem because the xenomorphs attack from every side. They don't know what to do. It's panic. All the surviving characters, because there was a lot of casualties in that scene alone. The survivors trying to find a way back to a safe space with other characters that remained there. It's just a very cool scene. It's the first time the xenomorphs attack in the scene, and it's complete danger for every character, and that's why I love this scene. And then we have Alien 3. And, well, little spoiler for the ranking I'm gonna do in August. This will be probably at the bottom. Well, probably, it's on the bottom. I despise Alien 3. I absolutely don't like this film. And it's a quite opposite of the previous one, Aliens, so there are not many good scenes to pick one to talk about in this video. Every scene is either very boring, dull, or just bad. So, but there was actually one scene that I was always impressed with in this bad movie, and that's, I believe it was the choice of David Fincher to put it in the story. At a certain point, the characters are gonna bury us on their way the dead people from Aliens, which I absolutely dislike in this movie. But while this whole funeral is taking place, on the other place, in this location, a xenomorph is born from a cow. And those two, the funeral and the birth, are taking place at the same time. And that's what I admire in this scene, is that death and life are so close to each other. And that is what this makes a phenomenal scene in a very bad movie. Alien Resurrection is certainly the most special one of the bunch. It's a fun movie. I really like it, but it's also very odd compared to the others. And this is also one that I watched a lot as a kid. Less now as an adult, but I always admire this movie because how crazy it is and how different it is. It's a cool movie. And the coolest scene in this movie is the underwater scene. In the movie, the characters have to go to one point to another point, and they have to do it with a section of the spaceship that is completely underwater. So the characters have to swim, and at a certain point the xenomorphs are swimming behind them, going faster. One of the characters, played by Ron Perlman, noticed this. There is a little panic, and then they go to this place with all these eggs. But I especially adore this whole other underwater sequence. It was beautifully shot underwater, and when the xenomorphs pop up, there was a tension, and it's a great scene actually. So now we are at the crossover scenes. In the Nillies, they thought it was a great idea to combine the alien, the xenomorph, and the predator in one movie. And it was successful for the first movie. Not so much for Requiem, though I have a soft spot for that movie. And the problem for these movies regarding the xenomorph is that they are more predator related. I think the most cool scenes in both movies belongs to the predator, and less to the xenomorph. But in the first movie, the best scene with the xenomorph is when the xenomorph and the predator fight for the first time in this pyramid. I always like that scene. The second movie, best scene with the xenomorph there, is actually with the facehuggers. You know, those little crawler things that go on your face. Nasty things. I love the opening scene of that movie when a dad and his son are hunting in the woods. The spaceship crashes and then they are hunted by these facehuggers. Very intense scene. Very well executed actually for this kind of movie. And brutal too, because the facehugger attacks the little kid as well, so cruel. So those two are the best scenes of both movies with a xenomorph in it. And then Ridley Scott came back to the franchise that made him great for the longest time. And he wanted to do something different with this franchise. He wanted to do a prequel taking place before the first movie, and he wanted to focus more on this whole creation and where humans are coming from, and also on the creation of the xenomorphs. And it's a bit hard to pick a favorite scene from this movie, because the xenomorph is absent in this movie, which is strange in this Alien franchise. We have an Alien movie without an alien. But the scene in which Elizabeth Shaw, played by Noomi Rapace, figures out that there is this parasitic alien inside of her, she immediately decides this thing has to go out of me. So she goes to this operating system in the spaceship and she basically operates herself to remove this thing out of her. And that was a nasty scene, but it's the most memorable scene in this movie. It's well acted by Noomi Rapace. She definitely makes this scene so impactful, so memorable, and if I think on Prometheus, it's usually this scene that pops up in my head first. And the last Alien movie at this very moment, because we will have another one in August, like I said, very excited for it. But as the moment I speak now, Alien Covenant is still the most recent Alien movie. It's a sequel to the prequel that Ridley Scott was creating, his whole prequel idea. And this time he brought the xenomorphs back, and that's definitely a good thing. I like Prometheus more as a Ridley Scott movie, but as an Alien movie with xenomorphs, I definitely go with Alien Covenant. It's not perfect, there are some really dumb things in this movie, but the scene I'm picking for this one is the scene, it's very early in the movie still. I believe it's also the first xenomorph attack scene in this movie. We have three characters. The male character of the bunch gets attacked by some kind of facehugger, and the two women characters take him back to this room in a spaceship, and one of them is not feeling comfortable with the whole situation. So she leaves, locks the other woman in the room with the male that is attacked by an alien, and then we know this character is done for it. She has zero chance of survival now, because then there is an alien coming out not from the chest but from the back of the male character. So there is this little xenomorph creature in this room with our other character, and she's locked up. She can't go anywhere, and we as an audience, we know she's dead. And that makes the scene so great, because we are still rooting for her even though we know she's not gonna survive it. And when the xenomorph attacks her, there was some brutal gory stuff. But that's why it's my favorite scene of this movie. It was so impactful. It was the most impactful scene of Covenant. So these were my favorite scenes from every Alien movie in the Xenomorph franchise. These are my personal picks. You can have other favorite scenes of these movies. Please let me know below in the comments. Would love to know your favorite scenes from each of these movies. And if you want to see more videos in which I talk about a specific film topic or a selection of films, always be free to subscribe to my channel, and till the next time.